All right.
Hi.
Well,
Another
welcome.
week.
Yep.
Another week,
Another
another
podcast.
podcast. Yep.
Wow.
We got new.
Wow.
We got someone new running the controls here today, so
know.
we're not sure how it's going to go. Brandon on the ones and twos
Yep.
over there.
Shout
And then
out
on the
Brandon.
ones and twos.
I'm kidding.
Like we're some big.
No.
If you can't hear it or see it, it's Brandon's fault.
Yeah.
It's Brandon's
Yep.
fault.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. How was your guys' weekend?
How was your weekend?
I knew you were gonna ask me that. I
Yep.
was literally trying to think like, what did I do this weekend?
Yep.
I've already blocked
You
it
watched
out.
the Seahawks win, apparently.
I actually didn't watch that game.
That's funny.
Did you watch the Broncos
I did
game?
watch the Broncos game. Yeah. But
So did I.
You're a liar.
I might have been rooting for the
So
Bills.
did I.
What?
Yeah. I'm not a Broncos fan. I mean, not that I dislike them,
Brandon,
but
can
I
you
just
switch with her?
I know. That's terrible to say. I might.
Did he just change the camera angle? Yeah. I saw him pressing buttons.
That's awesome. No, I know. I really like Josh Allen. And
I don't know who that
I
is.
do like Josh
He
Allen.
couldn't hold on to the ball, but man,
Josh Allen struggles in those big games.
he really does. And I
Yeah.
thought maybe it was just a Chiefs thing. And I was like, all right, this
Hmm.
is his year. The Chiefs
No.
are out. Nope. Anyway.
Do we want to talk about how glad we all are that the Chiefs are out?
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Let's talk about that.
Johnny?
Yeah,
Sports ball?
we're very glad. I watched that Broncos game.
Okay.
Because his kids made him.
It's true.
That is true.
Yep. But hey, there was cheese dip.
So there you
So-
go.
Ooh, yummy.
Cheese dip.
Mm,
Yeah.
I like cheese
I
dip.
am going tonight to watch The Lord of the Rings, the extended version in theaters with my family.
Which one?
The
Why?
Return of the King. Okay, so Ryland is totally getting into Lord of the Rings. He's loving it. He's reading the books. And he came up to us literally like a few weeks ago and he's like, I can't believe you guys got to see that in theaters. Like, that would have been so cool. And we were like, yeah, bud. And Brandon just like happened to like, he's like, I'm sure they're going to release it sometime back in theaters. So he like asked Google or whatever, and they're like, "You're in luck.
Right
the
now.
25th anniversary edition is going to be released in
Yep.
theaters in the next couple of weeks." And so we decided we were going to pick one because
On
we
a
didn't ha-
Tuesday?
They're 4
they're-
hours long.
They were like sold out. Like this
Yeah.
was like the only available,
Oh,
and
my
it starts at like
gosh.
6. We're not getting home till like
Are you going to
11
let your
tonight.
kids not go to school tomorrow?
No, they're just gonna be tired.
Yeah.
They can go yell at their teachers.
Sorry, teachers.
Yeah, it's fine. We were just like,
Every teacher
he's
watches
gonna
like,
be
I hate
so
you.
excited. I know.
Yeah, does he
Yeah.
know? Y'all going?
He does. He
Nice,
knows. Yeah,
nice.
he was super. He picked which movie he wanted to see.
A 4-hour movie would cause me to eat way too many
Ooh.
Raisinets and way too much popcorn.
Oh, I
Are
know.
you
way
guys
too much
getting the
icing.
popcorn
No.
bucket that comes along with it? I'm doing like live fact checking now. I
Ooh.
want to be cool like Shannon, so I
I
looked
don't
it up
know.
on my computer.
I didn't know there was a popcorn
Yeah, there's a
bucket
cool
that goes along
popcorn
with it.
bucket. No, don't do this. It's not worth it. It comes with a collectible map tin and a Quest magnet set. I
Oh,
don't know
that's
what
legit,
that means,
man.
but it's the
me see.
map of Middle Earth around the
Oh,
popcorn
that's
bucket.
cool.
This is not great for an audio podcast.
What are we
but
doing?
I know.
What are we doing?
I just needed. I didn't print the
geeking out.
questions today, so I brought my computer, and now all bets are off for what I'm doing over here.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
yeah.
Good.
So yeah. How about you? How was your weekend?
Yeah, it was good. Good football. We went to the Nuggets game. That was not
Fun?
good football
Oh.
Mm.
or good basketball. Yeah, it was good. It was a good weekend.
Who did they play?
They played Charlotte, so a buddy of mine plays for Charlotte, so that's why we went to go
Oh,
see
cool.
him.
Yeah.
But Charlotte destroyed
All their starters are out, right? I don't know
Pretty
anything about
much.
basketball.
pretty much. Pretty much everybody's hurt.
Okay.
But, okay.
Yeah, Jamal Murray is good, but they played Saturday too, so they had a
Mm-hmm.
back to back, and we just don't have many players, so they were
That's a
tired.
Bummer.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I don't remember what I did.
You
I
don't?
feel like it was a blur.
By Tuesday, it's
oh.
like
Yeah, we had the group leader meeting Sunday night, but Saturday I don't remember anything.
We
else.
went on Friday with my community group to that what's the name of it? It's a new restaurant, Tap and Dough, something.
Yeah,
Tap and
Tap
Dough.
and Dough. Yeah, I went there. It was good.
That place is good.
Yeah.
I liked
I gotta
it,
check it out.
and it wasn't. I mean, it's expensive because anything is expensive.
It was reasonable.
It
Because
was.
I went to it and was like, this is good pizza. I'm not going to compare it to other places. I felt like I might like another place better. But price wise, I was like, this is right in line for me. This
Yeah.
makes it good. Yeah.
I had the chicken Alfredo,
Yeah.
and it was one of the best I've
Yeah.
had in this town.
So they have pizzas and pastas.
yeah.
I just think it's crazy that they put themselves right next to Sliceworks.
Yeah,
Well,
but
yeah.
they are packed.
Yeah.
Really?
Packed.
It's a great location. I mean, that corner, right? And it's
It is.
beautiful.
It is.
we
Yeah.
we got on the waiting list at 5:15, and we got our table at 6:25.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Dang,
was
that's
packed.
a long wait.
If anyone, and this is never going to happen, if anyone that works there ever watches this podcast, You've got your arcade room, and that's great, and it's free. 2 of the arcade machines are broken.
I didn't even go in there.
And then the other 2,
Wow,
there's
Johnny's
broken
so
joysticks
serious.
in there. So just talk to me.
If you tell Johnny there's free arcade games
He's
and then
going.
the
Whoa,
arcade
my
games
kids
are not
were up
working,
and in the
your
room
kids.
before I could
Blame
even.
it on your kids.
Yeah, well,
Your kids.
yeah. We were
I'll
at,
show you how to play.
I remember what we did on Saturday. Isaac is in karate and he tested for his yellow belt. He got it. It was
Yay,
awesome.
go
He was very
Isaac.
proud of himself. It was up in Denver and we got there a little early and the place is right next to a Sam's Club. So we're like, let's walk to Sam's Club. So we're walking in and I have not seen these before. They had a digital pinball machine.
Oh.
And by that, I mean, it's shaped like a pinball machine, but you walk up and it's just a screen and all the knobs and all that kind of stuff is just digital on the screen. And it was Ninja Turtles. And it was awesome. It cost $1,200
Oh.
for the record. Now,
So you got it.
no, yeah. Real pinball machines are like 5, 10,
Yeah,
15.
they're like, good price.
But that was pretty cool. I hadn't seen that before. So anyway,
That's
that's
cool.
what we did.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're 400
Great.
minutes into this
That's
thing.
right.
now.
That's right. Let's
We're
get
doing
started.
awesome.
Let's get started.
We
All
had
right.
great weekends.
It was. All right. So we're in a series right now called Honest to God. And last week we addressed, can you have doubts and still be a Christian? And this week we're talking about unforgiveness. So before we get into the questions that were submitted, Ernest, was there anything that didn't make it into the message?
There was a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a message where you can preach for hours
It's true.
and still not cover everything. I mean, I wanted to hit on how do you forgive yourself? I talked about that very briefly, but you know, a lot of people struggle with forgiveness because I said they struggle forgiving themselves, right? You can't love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself well.
Yeah.
So talking about that, I think I would say the majority of people that I interact with probably struggle with forgiving themselves from something that happened at some point.
Yeah.
I also would have loved to have gotten into like boundaries and how to set up proper boundaries. Cause like I talked about my dad and then I talked about how we haven't talked and not all of that is on him.
Yeah, there's
Right.
a gap in there,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Some of now, like over the last 2 years, I've put up boundaries. And so how can you do that in a healthy way? Still love the person, still long for restoration. But go, this is also, I feel very confident in what I've done, that the Lord is okay with
with
me and what I've chosen to do to protect my family and to, you know, protect my own heart.
Yeah.
Right. Because I think everybody longs for, especially like a dad or a mom, you long for that relationship. And, you know, I watch people go through it and it's just a cycle of just hurt and pain and hurt and pain. And so finally, once I hit the end of my cycle, I said, I'm done. We're going to put up some boundaries. So I would have loved to have talked about that. It's just, unfortunately, wasn't time. There's so
That's
many
why
other
we're here
scriptures.
today, though,
That's
right?
Yeah.
There's so many scriptures that you could hit on when it comes to forgiveness and unforgiveness, and that answers a lot of even the questions that we got.
Yeah.
So much. But I keep getting told the messages are already too long, so I need to shorten them.
I mean, no comment.
We talked this morning, these are extremely difficult messages to write in a short amount of time because of, I wrote the one for next week on church hurt yesterday and was
There's
just
such
like,
sensitive topics.
it's like, man, you can't teach these topics with like, let's talk about forgiveness. A plus B equals C. Then so
Go
forgive. You can't because there's so much hurt and pain and history and different experiences and all of it. You have to bring all that in. And so it's really tough to do. So,
Yeah, which then, you know, as it goes longer, it impacts
Yeah.
our parking and impacts kids and all of that stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it shortened, guys. I promise. We will figure it out.
All right. Well, let's get into the questions that were submitted because a lot of these questions do cover a lot of what you said didn't get to make it in the message. So, first one is, who is forgiveness for, the wronged or the wrongdoer? And there's a follow-up part that says, and will God forgive me if I have unforgiveness?
I would say it's for both. It is for the wronged and the wrongdoer. Everything you said on Sunday, releasing other people allows us to release the bitterness and the anger. And so it's for us. But there are, usually kind of when we talk about this, it's like, and you may never even talk to that person. You need to work on it for yourself. There are times where Shannon says something offensive. It happens a lot. But I
Every
have to,
Tuesday.
but I have to like have a conversation. Hey, Shannon, that hurt my feelings. The forgiveness I offer when you're able to have that conversation is also for
For
that
me.
person to
Yeah.
go, you're right. That was wrong. I'm sorry. Here's what I'll do in the future. And it's for them as well to help them grow.
Yeah.
So it's for both, I would say. There are times like most of what you talked about on Sunday where it's mostly for me. I gotta do this for myself. Anything to add before we go to the second part?
No,
there?
I mean, when you look at like forgiveness, that is definitely for the one who did the wrong, or else we as followers of Jesus wouldn't be forgiven,
Yes.
right? And then it's also for us when we forgive, because like I said on Sunday, it sets us free from the cage that we've put ourselves in.
Right. The second part is tough, man. Will God forgive me if I have unforgiveness or if I have not forgiven? I mean, you read the scripture.
And Matthew 6, I didn't read
yeah,
that one. Says
yeah.
the same thing.
So I had two thoughts coming into this question. Number one, you look at what Jesus says, and I think you have to sometimes take it at face value. Sometimes we try to like, oh, well, what the Bible actually means is this. And if you look at the context and all that stuff matters, sometimes Jesus just uses plain language, and I don't think there's a way around it, really. So when he says, hey, forgive as you've been forgiven, otherwise, I think we really need to take it seriously. And so that's part one of my answer of like, man, Jesus seems to make it seem like if we hold on to unforgiveness and bitterness and all of that, that God looks at us and is like, I don't think you understand the gospel, maybe, in some ways, because just like the parable that you read, all of the grace that we have been given. So part one, I think we need to take Jesus seriously and take him at his word. Part B or two, whatever letters, numbers, I think not to push against myself and bring nuance when I don't think we necessarily need nuance, but I think it's important. What I think about when I'm holding on to unforgiveness is what kind of person am I being formed into when I'm holding on to that? And so like theologically for me, Jesus is the perfect sinless human that God says, this is the standard and he's going to sacrifice himself to pay for our sins. And then we are called to become like him, to be holy as he is holy, it says throughout scripture. So then the goal is be formed in the image of Christ. Okay, Jesus dying on the cross willingly says, forgive them, Father, for they don't know what they're doing. When we then say, I'm going to hold on to this unforgiveness, what is that turning us into? And who are we becoming in that? And I think it's one of those where like I think it was C.S. Lewis says that like the door to hell is locked from the inside. I could be misquoting him on that. I think it's a very similar thing of like, being forgiven is a door that we have the key to, that we are choosing whether or not we're going to receive that by holding on to or releasing that unforgiveness. I don't know if any of that makes sense. It's just, I'm a spiritual formation person. And so every choice that we make is we're either becoming more like Jesus or we're leaning into our flesh and our default nature. And so that's what comes to mind for me here is I think we should take Jesus seriously when he equates our forgiveness of other people to God forgiving us. And I think we need to consider what kind of people that's turning us into. So anyway, that's
I think that's really good. I would say that, when you look at the parable, you have to ask the question, did the guy really receive grace?
Right.
Like, did he actually receive, because he immediately goes out and chokes a dude for owing him money.
Yeah.
So did he actually receive God's
Did he understand the
mercy and grace?
gravity of what
Of
was
what had
happening? Or
been
it was just like,
happened.
whew, I got
Cool.
out of that one.
Good,
Great.
Yeah.
right. So like the way I was trying to explain it to somebody the other day is, some people say like what Jesus meant was, if you go to, I think it's John 13, where he's washing the disciples' feet and he says, if you don't let me wash your feet, you have no part with me.
Yeah.
He's talking about
It's really
communion
harsh.
with him,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so if you don't forgive, some scholars say he's saying you don't have a part with him, meaning like you don't get to be in relationship with him. Like maybe your sins can be forgiven, but your daily walk is non-existent because you don't understand it. I don't know if I take that approach. The approach I would take would be more, yes, take Jesus at his word. Like he said it. So there's something very serious about this.
Yeah.
You also go to James and you go, well, we're told that our salvation is not by works, in James and Ephesians, Romans, so we know that it's nothing that we did to deserve it. However, so he says this. So what is he saying?
Yeah.
I think a lot of scholars, and where I would probably land with it, is Jesus is saying, if you've truly received it, then you will give it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you choose not to give it, then have you
yeah.
actually received the
Received.
Yeah.
grace that God is offering you?
Yeah.
And again, sometimes that's because you haven't forgiven yourself.
Yeah. And that's not to say that if you're wrestling with
Yes.
forgiving somebody that you should
No.
question your
No,
salvation.
not at
No.
all.
But
not
just
at all.
that, like,
Where's your
point.
heart?
Yeah.
Jesus, we said this all throughout the best sermon ever with the Sermon on the Mount. Jesus is after the heart. And so when he brings up adultery or he brings up lying or anger, all of these things, it's not the behavior. He's not about just stop doing this. It's the heart that leads to it. And
Yeah.
so what is the heart that is holding on to the unforgiveness? What have you actually allowed Jesus to change your heart? Are you allowing him to change your heart? So yeah, I think sometimes we think in a binary
Yeah.
one or
Black and
two, like
white,
it's
yeah.
either this or this. And so, even last week someone asked about like, what if I doubt my salvation? And then this one of like, well, am I really not gonna be forgiven? I think we are treating this as like a kind of a, how do I get my ticket to
Get quick
heaven?
scheme- or-
Yeah. And
yeah.
I think it's about more than that. It's not just what do I do to get forgiven so I can go to heaven? And that's not what this person is saying at all. I think sometimes we think that way of like, but what if I don't do that? Is that,
am I missing it?
and I think we're missing the point, right? I think you got to go deeper to what is Jesus doing in my heart? Have I actually understood and received the grace that he has given to me? Because if you do, the longer I follow Jesus and the closer I get to him, the more sin I see in my own life, the more appreciative of his grace I am, because I realize how much I need it. And I think that's where we have to get to with this topic of forgiveness of like, man, I am, as Paul said, chief of all sinners. I am no better than anyone else. And I need his grace every single day. How could I, and I struggle in this area, but how could I hold something against someone else when I am in such need of forgiveness? Anyway.
And I think so. This question also could be being asked from a, hey, I've tried to forgive them,
Yeah.
but like I'm realizing I'm still holding on to
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And if that's part of the equation, I would say give yourself grace, because forgiveness is a process.
It is a process.
we
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
It is not a one time like poop. Good,
Yeah,
dude,
good,
go.
done, yeah.
Great
Yeah.
message at church, and I am now forgiven everybody.
Yep.
You probably went to the cross. You could have gone to the candles. You could have done any of that. You could have gone to get prayer, and then you woke up the next morning and been like, "Why do I hate
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
still?"
And be
part of the process.
careful. My brain's in church hurt mode for the message. Be careful of leaders or people who make it seem like you should be able to just pray a prayer one time and be all done. And if not,
Very
then
dangerous.
you
Yeah.
are sinful
wrong with you.
or
With you,
yes,
yeah.
or demonic or whatever. Be very careful of that, because the truth is it just takes a while sometimes.
Yep.
So
It's not a feeling. I loved
Yeah.
the quote you said by Tim Keller. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but just about how it's not a feeling. It's something that you practice
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
yeah.
until you get there. So yeah, it
It's
is
a process.
Yeah.
It is that act your way into a feeling type
Yeah.
approach.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
Like,
it.
you won't feel it right now,
Yeah.
but in 5 years, as you continue to walk through these, it's like grieving, right?
Yeah.
There's different
Yeah.
stages of grieving, and if you've ever grieved before, you know that it's not linear.
No.
You're not like, okay, I'm in stage 2 now. Can't
Yeah.
wait to get to 3,
Yeah.
so I can get done with
Yeah.
5. Right? It's
Yeah,
like
some
you're in
days you're
stage 1.
denying, some days
Right.
you're accepting.
And
Yeah.
some days you're
Exactly.
unaffected,
Yeah.
and then
Yes.
something happens, and those feelings come back up, and you're like,
Yep.
"Oh, I thought I had worked through this.
Yep.
I mean, I still have more to
Yep.
work through." So
And forgiveness is big time like that.
Yeah.
Because you can be like, I feel like I'm really good, and then something like this was one of the maybe last year and this year were the first time my birthday that I didn't get a text or a phone
Yeah.
call, and I really was good.
you were okay.
Like years before I could be like, I mean, I forgave him, but I'm like,
yeah.
Still
"God,
frustrating.
that
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even text me. This year and last year, I'm like, I'm actually good.
Yeah.
You know, but it took a while. It took years.
I don't think forgiveness means you just ignore those feelings
Right.
of,
Yep.
Yeah.
hey, I'm upset that I didn't get that
Yes.
text.
Yeah.
I'm frustrated. Like,
Yes.
it's not just pushing and dismissing those and saying, like, well, I forgave, so I'm not allowed
Yeah.
to feel that way.
Yep.
Like, that, I don't think that that's an indicator that you haven't
Yep.
forgiven. It's just, there's just still some
That's
stuff that you got
humanity.
to work through.
Yeah.
And you should long for certain relationships.
Yeah.
When you don't have them, that should grieve you.
Yes, we have been created to be relational people. I
Yep.
love that. Okay, next question. how can I teach forgiveness to a child? My 10-year-old grandson recently had a fight at school and he wanted to get revenge on this kid. This made me chuckle a little bit.
I'm sorry
That's
to
a
laugh at
great
it.
one.
Yeah.
I have well, he's 12 now, but I mean, I've had kids that age and it's, kids.
And I have failed at this one for sure. I remember, gosh, it was a few years ago. A kid did something to Wyatt, and I think he punched him or something. Wyatt came home and told us, and so my first response was, next time he does something, punch him back in the face.
Right.
Like just,
What was-
but make sure you get him in the nose.
What was Sarah's
Like,
response when you
Sarah
said that?
went, no. Like literally that's what, and then Wyatt was like, Dad, I don't think that's what God would want. I'm like, let me go over here in a corner and pray.
All right, sure.
And let me reset my
great.
heart. Yeah, I think
You're
know,
disrupting a lot of parenting styles right now, by the way.
Our parents
Oh,
would
yeah.
be like, hit him back.
Yep, I know. So for me, we try to teach. I would say maybe in two ways. One, we teach from our own experience.
Yeah.
So like my kids know the situation with my dad. They don't know all the things because they don't
Right.
need to. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want them to have a bad image of him.
Yeah.
So even when we talk about it, they're like, Waverly for sure. She's always like, well, why do you think he does that, or why does he not do this, or whatever? And I'm like, everybody has their own journey. So I just
Yeah.
like I don't speak ill of him or anything,
Mm-hmm.
but I've had to learn to forgive him. Here's how I've done that. So I just teach
Yeah.
from, or, I mean, being in ministry, like the things, you and I were talking about this earlier today, like
the
the
things
things
that
that are
people
said
say.
to us,
Oh, man.
the comments that are made, I mean, every week there's a judgment about me, about how I look, about my outfit, about my hair, about my everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And
Positive and negative. It could be
Yeah.
the same thing, and people are like, I love it. I hate it.
Right. And they're going to share it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not like, man, I really hate that hair. It's like, I'm going to go tell him.
Yeah.
Like
Your hair
Christmas
looks
Eve,
stupid.
I had a dude that was like, I really don't like your haircut.
He said that to you, to your face?
Yeah.
Man.
And I'm like,
wow.
I love you. And he like laughed. He was like, but I'm serious. And I'm like,
You're
I
like,
know you
okay.
are. Like, I know you well enough to know
Wow.
that.
I think I
man.
would
So-
cry if
I-
someone did.
yeah, I
Please,
wouldn't know
no
what
one
to
do
do.
that to me.
Yeah.
But when now that I said it, there are going to be people on
I know.
Sunday that will do it. Be
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I hate your hair. It's fine. But when things happen, I continually teach my kids, and I try to protect the people. I protect the situations and all of that.
Yeah.
But hey, this was said to me, or this was done to me. Here's how I'm processing. I just let my kids in. Then the other thing we do to teach is we teach them how to ask for forgiveness.
That's
I think it's really hard to forgive somebody if you're not willing to go low,
Yeah.
right? To humble yourself. And so just 2 weeks ago, Waverly comes home. She says, Dad, so-and-so's mad at me. Well, I coach her basketball team. It's one of the girls on the team. And I'm like, I mean, we can't have this on the team.
Yeah.
Tell me what happened. Well, I did something a year ago she didn't like, and she told me she's still harboring it. And I said, okay, well, have you asked for forgiveness? She goes, no. I said, okay. So we were driving to practice. I said, I'm giving you the first 5 minutes to approach her. And if you don't, then I will pull both of you aside in front of everybody and have you guys do that right there. And she was like, Dad, that's really uncomfortable. I said, 100% it's
Yep.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because your brain says let it go because you don't want conflict.
Yeah.
But what you said earlier,
Yeah.
we have to ask for forgiveness.
Yeah.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
So she goes up to the girl. I watch her. I watch her walk over and she's like, and I was so proud of her, like so proud of her. She walks over and I don't know what's happening. I see the conversation. Then she comes over and she's shooting. I said, so did you say something? And she goes, yeah. I said, how'd it go? She goes, she just said, will you just stop? This is cringe. This is cringe. Yes, I forgive you. Just stop. This is cringe.
Oh, it's
and I was
great.
like, Waverly, it's because she doesn't know
She's never
Yeah.
had that.
to have
Yeah.
that conversation
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of you. Your brain has certain pathways.
Yep.
You're creating a new
You
one.
just made it
Yeah.
easier.
And it's hard.
Yep.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Next time will be easier.
Yeah.
Not easy, easier.
Yeah.
And then eventually, it's like, hey, I'm so sorry. Will
Yeah.
you forgive me for that? And it's not a big deal,
Yeah.
right? But so I think to me, it's emulating how to forgive, and then it's teaching you need to ask for forgiveness.
And to the person with the grandson, I would say, depending on your family situation, I don't know all of that, but like you get to set what your family does. Like that is like this is my daughter and this is not what we do in our family.
Yep.
And so
Yeah.
like, there's no option, her saying like, oh, I don't want to do that. It's like, you get to
This
choose.
is-
You
yeah.
do this or this happens.
Yep.
And those are the family values that we instill. And you just make that choice. Like, hey man, here's what we're going to do. This is who we are, because most of parenting and grandparenting when they're young is just, you do this because you do it. And you'll learn why someday, but today I just need you to put the dishes in the dishwasher. Today I need you to pick up your clothes. This is just what you do. And so you just kind of have to set that.
And
So-
giving them the example of from your own life is so important
Yeah.
because like a 10-year-old looks up to this grandparents.
Yes.
Right. So like to hear from your grandparents, I don't know if I ever heard from a grandparent a situation like this
No.
where they were like,
Me neither.
hey, let me teach you how I forgive
Yeah,
people.
no way.
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just teach from your own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's huge too. And Brandon and I are always, we also like when we need to ask forgiveness of the kids, like we make sure we like, hey,
Yeah.
we messed up here. We shouldn't have done
Yep.
that. Like
Yep.
we're just to model that humility. And the other thing I always talk to the kids about is we kind of talked about that hurting people hurt people.
Mhm.
And so, we've had conversations they'd come home and be like, oh, this kid was so mean, Mom. Like, I don't understand. And then I kind of get to be like, man, that's really hard. And I'm sorry that happened. But I mean, my heart hurts for that kid because
Mhm.
maybe at home that's what they're
Yep.
that's what they're being modeled and that's
Yep.
what they're
Mhm.
seeing. And like they maybe not have like the life that we have here. And that like as a mom, like that hurts my
Yeah.
heart.
Yeah.
And so when they stop and they see that, they can have that compassion. And we always
Yeah.
make sure to emphasize like that doesn't excuse the behavior.
Yes. Every behavior is communication. Is
Yes.
something I learned in a parenting class. They are
Mhm.
communicating something.
Yes.
Something's wrong.
Like they are hurting,
Yeah.
and that's why usually that's
Mhm.
Yeah.
happening. So,
Yeah.
all right, next question. If I forgive, how? And this kind of goes along with what we talked about. But if I forgive, how will the person be held accountable and or punished?
Oh man.
That is the language that was used.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of what I said on Sunday. In some situations, they may not on,
Right.
on the side of glory.
Right.
This is where faith and God's justice
Right.
is.
Like, so my dad ends up accepting Christ when I was like 31 or 32. So, I mean, if he truly accepted Christ, then he's going to be in heaven. He's going to be forgiven. So it's not like he's going to hell for his actions,
yeah,
right?
And God's not going to like hold him to the fire a little bit before he lets him in. That whole
Right.
purgatory idea.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? And so it's like, yeah, he may never in his mind suffer the consequences of that. But like my relationship with my kids is so different than my dad's relationship with me
Mhm.
ever was, and part of that is because of this whole conversation, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
obviously, I don't abuse them. I'm not an alcoholic. Like,
Mhm.
there are major changes that I've made, but I also ask for their forgiveness when
Yeah.
I do things and when I
Yeah.
say things, and I model certain characteristics and certain values, and so the damage or the suffering might be the fact that my dad's not close to me
Right.
or my sister or my half brother.
Right.
Yeah,
None of us.
yeah,
Like, that may be the suffering
Yeah.
that he gets. And he may not get no suffering. I don't know. It's not vengeance is mine, declares the Lord.
Yes.
Right? Justice is his at the end of the
Mhm.
day.
Yeah.
So I'll trust him with it. Obviously, if it's something that like authorities need to be involved, get the
For
authorities
sure.
involved.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Like, don't
sure.
be like, oh, well,
yeah.
The
You know,
Lord will handle it.
If you
yeah,
need to
you-
call the
this
police,
Let the
call
police handle it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this person
The
did
Lord has put the
something.
police
Yeah.
in
Exactly.
the
Yep.
authority that they have.
Yeah,
Yep.
I believe it's real when Paul says that you reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do think that God uses life and consequences to teach us
Yes.
and to enact his justice.
Mhm.
And so he is suffering not being a part of your life.
Mhm.
And so people make choices, we sow things, and then God's like, "Hey man, you get what you sowed. Like
Yeah.
this is what happens." And sometimes he spares us from consequences and things like that. We don't understand why or how or any of that, but I do think that there is a part of life where an angry person or a bitter person or someone who's just mean and not fun to be around, they're not going to have many friends.
No.
And so they hurt us, but at the same time, they're hurting. We
They're
know
hurting
that because they're
themselves.
hurting people, but they're also hurting themselves because nobody wants to be around them.
Yeah.
And so there's this like, they're miserable.
And they might
Also.
not think or see that
Yeah.
in that moment.
Most
They
of
might be
them- most-
blinded or their
yeah.
pride or whatever.
No one
but
would. Yeah.
you can see where they're missing
Yeah.
out on all these amazing joys and
Yeah.
blessings being with their grandkids and whatever. And like, then that for me, that's a choice of like, man, I want these blessings. Like
Yes.
I want these joys.
Yes.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to follow the Lord and
Yep.
do what I know I'm supposed
And
That's
to
been
do.
the big shift for me is that like, okay, I can't care so much about what happens to him.
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure I don't end up
Yes.
in that same situation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So like Waverly saw him 3 years ago. Wyatt hasn't seen him in 7 years. Sarah hasn't seen him in 7 years. She saw him 3 years ago, and it was so uncomfortable for her
Mm-hmm.
because there wasn't any care toward her that she felt.
Yeah.
And I would agree
Yeah.
based on what I saw. And so, like, I couldn't imagine not like doting all over my grandkids. Like,
Yes.
I'm raising kids so that I can have grandkids.
I was going to say,
you know
we
what I'm saying?
can, Brandon and I cannot wait
Yes,
till
yes.
grandkids.
We've
stage.
told Wyatt you can get married right now. It's totally fine. Just you're not living in our
Oh,
basement.
wow.
You're not living in our
Okay.
basement. No, but like I can't wait. Like
Yeah.
if God chooses to bless our family like
Mm-hmm.
that, like that'll be amazing. My dad doesn't have that same experience, and I think that's the suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a missing piece of love
Yeah.
that he's not getting because of his continued actions.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I can't control that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm also going, I'm not going, God smite him.
Right. That's
Like,
what
it's
I
just-
was gonna put in there. I was reading in Proverbs this morning, and I'll get to it. But like our challenge now is to not gloat over the suffering of that
Yes.
person. Because again, the grace that I receive, I'm so glad that God gives it to
So
me. And it's
thankful.
not like, now you better earn this,
Yeah.
or like any of that. Like in Proverbs 25:21 says, if your enemy's hungry, give him food to eat. If he's thirsty, give him water to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head, and the Lord will reward you. So our choice, we work through the
To be
forgiveness,
kind.
and we just choose kindness.
Yep.
It's like, I'm not going to gloat and be happy that you're suffering and miserable.
Mm.
I'm just going to be kind.
Yep.
So-
And that's
Yeah.
where the praying blessing over that
Yes.
person. Like do the
Yes.
exact opposite, actually. Just pray blessing over
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think that's so good. I think even, and you touched on this too in your message, but like the risk of us holding on to that bitterness and that unforgiveness is that we could potentially start to do those things
100%.
that they did that we are so angry about.
Yes.
And for me, that is like, oh yeah, no, I don't
Not
want to go
going
down
down
that
that.
road.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. I think that's so good. Okay, this next question is actually a combination of several questions that we got that were all very similar in nature. So we kind of combined them into one, and there's different parts of this. So, what does biblical forgiveness look like when trust has been broken, particularly in family or abusive relationships? And how can someone forgive continually while keeping necessary boundaries? That's the first part. So, I'll mention the second part after we.
That whole thing was the first part.
That was the first part. Yeah.
Can you repeat the first part?
Yes, basically, like, how can we continually forgive someone or walk in forgiveness and keep boundaries when they're just doing what they're doing? They're continuously hitting the wound or,
Yeah.
reopening it.
There's a great book called Boundaries.
Yeah.
that I would
Henry
encourage-
Cloud.
Yep. I would encourage every person to read.
Yeah.
He gives this illustration at the beginning of the book about it's like our life is like a house.
Yeah.
Right. And he's like, you can only ransack a house when the doors are open.
Yeah.
Right. When it's like, now granted, yes, people could apparently Pastor Mike can pick locks and other people can pick locks.
Well,
Something
no,
we just
not yet. He hasn't
recently
learned how to
learned.
do
Yeah,
it.
that's
Yeah.
true.
That's true.
He's still working on that.
But he's
Failed.
saying like, it's easier to ransack a house when the front door is open.
Yeah.
And so many times in our relationships, the front door is open. And so we have to not only close the front door, we need to put locks up.
Yeah.
We need to put maybe a screen door.
Yeah.
We need to put a fence around our
build a
property.
fence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
keep
Like,
going
there
until,
are- What do you need? And so like for me, there are people in my life, the front door is always open. Like boom,
Yeah.
it's open.
Yeah.
There are many people that front door is closed. There are many people that front door is closed and locked. There's
Yeah.
many people less people that the front door is closed, locked, and there's a screen door that also is locked. And then there's very few people that there's a fence around my property that
That's so
also has a
good.
gate and a lock on it.
Yeah.
And then there is a couple people that there is a gate to my neighborhood that you
You're
don't
not
have the
even
access
getting
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
That's
Private
good.
community here.
right,
so good.
right.
Yeah.
It's just me.
It's a gated
just
community.
my house.
Yeah.
I think that like that's where I would start and ask the question, like, who have I given access to my home? And then what boundaries do I need to set up for who? And it's not a one time. That's why I just try to describe, like,
Yeah.
different people have different access. Not everybody needs the same access. Like, we need to get over that
Yeah.
and realize that, like, no, that not everybody.
If they're not changing.
Yeah.
If
You don't get
they're
to come into my house and
not
tell me that you
repentive.
think I need to replace all my cabinets. This
Yes.
is my house.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Or
you.
to tell me like I'm a terrible parent, or
Yeah.
to tell me whatever it is, right? Like there's just not that. There's not that space. I don't
Yeah.
have that space for you in this place.
Yeah.
And so I would encourage you to read that book. And then I would say that you need boundaries. God is not saying that forgiveness results in you being a doormat.
Right.
Yes.
Like that's where we like. I think sometimes the church,
We've taught some of that. Yeah.
yeah, that as a whole has been like, you just forgive and just see what happens.
Yeah.
No. Like
Yeah.
in some situations, no. Now, in some, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I need to forgive. Like you mentioned earlier, like if you've got an issue with Shannon, she hurt you, go talk about it,
Yeah.
forgive each other, move on.
And I
Yes.
can't
Right.
then like, well, Shannon's apologized, but I'm gonna hold it
Remember
against
when you
her.
said
over
that?
my head.
Remember?
Yeah.
Right. But then there are other times where people hurt you and you go, sorry.
Yeah.
Like either because of your repeated hurt or the severity of the hurt.
Yeah.
There's the front door is locked,
Yeah.
or there is a gate to my house
Yeah.
now. You don't have the key. I'm so sorry,
Yeah.
and I will allow you in at proper time. And there are some people that, and it might be family members that. I mean, I've had these conversations with people the last 2 days. Had a conversation around Thanksgiving with a guy in our church. Very similar situation with a father, and there are some situations where you go, until you change, you don't get access to my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Yeah.
It's really hard.
And some
But
of
it
it,
prohibits me from getting hurt again.
yeah, and some of it is a physical distance of like we're not going to be around each other anymore. Some of it, which is more what we get to practice in the church, is you interact with people who are just mean. Sometimes they tell you they don't like your hair. You can't distance yourself physically from that
Right.
guy, but my house, my yard, no matter what you say or do, you're not going to affect it. You're not going to burn the grass in my front yard by telling me that you hate my hair. I'm not going to allow that. That's more where it comes in for me, is me mentally, spiritually, emotionally, whatever. And we have those
Truth.
people all the time. They'll make the comment. It's like, oh man, so-and-so is just mean. And we try to not have those assumptions. It just happens sometimes, but I'm not going to allow that mean comment to affect my house, my internal whatever.
I think another piece too would be, for me, I'm not saying this to anybody that wrote any of these questions.
Right.
For me, I also have to go, why am I being sensitive to
Yeah.
some of these things?
Yeah.
And the guy who made a comment about my hair, I really didn't care. I laughed at him.
Yeah.
And,
It was fine.
it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know this guy loves me. I know this guy, I've known him for a long time. I have no issues with it, right? I'm not sensitive to that. Like okay. That's you can not like my hair. You have that right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot like my outfits. You cannot like what I do.
What are you going to do?
anything.
Stop coming to church because you don't like my hair?
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
what-
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you do,
Yeah.
that's on you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
So like we also have to be less sensitive in
Yeah.
certain situations.
Yes.
I'm not saying
I
like
think-
in a lot of harmful things. That's
Yeah.
not I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying I have watched so many people get so upset about a comment or whatever. And I'm like, I mean,
Yeah.
So
And I think at that point too, like if there is something where a nerve is getting hit, I oftentimes, Brandon and I will talk to each other about like, ooh, I think that struck a wound in me that
Yes.
hasn't healed.
Yes.
You
Yes.
didn't mean to.
yep.
I need to go back and ask the Lord, like, okay, let's do some healing
Yeah.
there because
Yep.
maybe somebody sometime way back in my past did something that really hurt. And so then sometimes people can touch on those wounds.
Yep.
100%.
And you think you're just really angry at that person, but
Mhm.
really it's just, hey, this is an insecurity. This is
This
a
hurts.
wound. Like I need
Yeah.
to figure this out. Like
Yep.
I need to ask the Lord to heal that up.
yeah.
What would you say for boundaries? Because it gets a little tougher in a spousal relationship, like someone you're married to continuously doing things that need forgiveness. How do you approach boundaries? What do you do with that?
Counseling.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
need a third party.
Big time.
not as leverage, but you need an objective person
Yep.
to sit within the room to say, I am having these issues, help. And that person be able to ask questions and try to get to the bottom of it. The tricky part, and this happens all the time, is one spouse willing to do that and one spouse not. You got to do the best you can. And I do not advocate for divorce. I don't think it should be an option for us. I think we should do everything we can. And so I think you need to go, I'm putting my foot down and something needs to change. We're going to counseling.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And just go for yourself.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
many
At the very
marriages,
least.
yeah, where, one spouse will just go to counseling
Yeah.
for themselves, and that really seems to help them
Yeah.
at
Absolutely.
least. And then I've seen a lot of times where then the other spouse
It-
sees the changes
Yep.
and they start to be like, okay, well, maybe I'll check one out
Yeah.
or whatever. And
Yeah.
not saying that happens every time, but
Yeah.
I've
And if you're
seen it.
not willing to go to counseling, because counseling does have still a
Weird stigma.
stigma. attached to it.
Yeah.
If you're not willing to go, then come to our date nights with a purpose.
Yeah.
Join a married group.
Mhm.
Like, do something,
Yeah.
right? And then if you're doing all those things and they still keep hurting you, man, it's tough. So yeah, we can have that conversation offline.
Yeah.
Because I have some suggestions.
Right.
That I have given people that I think is still biblical and puts up really strong boundaries. So we can have that conversation offline. But most people haven't gone through those other steps first.
Yeah.
So whoever wrote these questions, I don't know if they have or not. If you've gone through everything, you've done everything, and it's still continual, then let's figure this piece out.
Yeah.
The Bible does say that where God grants divorce is within
Adultery,
adultery.
Adultery.
So obviously, if that's happened and you want to move
And
forward
nothing's
with that,
changing. And
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine if Sarah cheated on me and then was like, I couldn't imagine that first and foremost. If what I would even do. But then if she was like, I'm gonna
Whatever.
I'm just gonna. Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we're out of here. But I don't.
Yeah.
I don't. That's probably not what these people are asking. I would just
Yeah.
say counseling is the biggest piece. If they won't do counseling, go to these other things. And then if you do all this stuff and nothing is changing, then maybe we have a conversation offline.
Yeah. Okay. Last part of this kind of question is when something really serious or grievous happens, when do we use discernment on, okay, this was a really serious thing. We're going to keep these boundaries in place, or we're going to choose reconciliation? Or can reconciliation look like boundaries?
Yeah,
Essentially, what does reconciliation look like?
Yeah.
Okay, this is a beautiful question and very difficult. Here's how I process it with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I would love reconciliation. I mean, not we have reconciliation. I would love restoration.
Yeah.
Right? Like
It's
there-
different.
Full, by
is.
that you mean
It's different.
full, everything it could be, perfect relationship,
maybe it's not,
or is it a limited?
Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever be full
Yeah.
because there's so much past.
Because I think that matters is the
It
reason I
does.
asked that. Because
It does.
if the gas tank, so to speak, can only ever be half full, I think you need to be realistic
reset your
about that.
expectations.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So like we've had the reconciliation. Like I forgive him.
Yeah.
And I've asked him for forgiveness. What's fascinating, I wasn't able to tell this part of my story. The moment that I actually forgave him was the moment I asked him to forgive me. Like, which we were in this conversation and I said, why do you hate me? He said, why do you hate me? And I said, why do you hate me? And then that moment God said, ask him to forgive you. And I was like, what the? No,
Yeah.
not a chance.
No, he needs to forgive me.
Yeah.
Yes, like
Or he needs my forgiveness.
Right,
Yeah,
he needs
exactly.
to
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
for
yeah.
it. And then so I was like, whatever, Lord. And I just said it. I said, will you forgive me? And because I knew I had my anger, I had
Yeah.
all my stuff, and I had done things to try to like expose him and stuff. And that moment, it was gone. Like it was the weirdest thing. I'm not
That's
saying that's
awesome.
what you have to do.
Yeah.
So we've had a reconciliation. I would love restoration with my dad. Like whatever that looks like. If it's
Yep.
gas is half full or a quarter full or all the way full, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I would love to have something. It doesn't appear that that's something he desires. So for me to get to a place where I put up very strong boundaries now, I had to ask myself this question. If he dies today, am I going to be okay with that? Or will there be any regrets? And when I asked that question, I went, no, I'd still have regrets. I said, okay, so then what do I need to do? So then I tried more.
Yeah.
And when it wasn't reciprocated, then I just kept asking the question. And finally, one day, I asked the question, and I went, yeah, I think I actually would be.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I was like, I'm not ready to like say that's a true answer.
Yeah.
Because my emotions can deceive my heart, right? So I'm like, okay, let me sit on this for a little bit. And the more I pray, I had probably 3 months of just praying on it. And yeah, no, I actually feel like if he died today, I did what I needed to do to repair, to have a good relationship. I forgave him.
Yeah.
I don't think if he was gone that I'd be like, oh my gosh, what I could have done. I really don't believe that. I believe that like I've done everything I could. Okay.
Okay.
This is the time to put up those extra boundaries now. This is where the gate is locked and you don't have a key to he can get in the neighborhood still. He can drive by if he wants.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get any access from that point. So a guy I was kind of counseling on this back at Thanksgiving said the same thing. I said, I would just wait till you get to a place where you can honestly say you would have no regrets. And because you don't want regrets,
Yeah.
No.
right? Once that person dies, that's it, right? To the other side of glory, that's it. And you don't want to,
Spend the
hate
rest of your
yourself.
life thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hate yourself because you could have done something else or hate them because they didn't, whatever. I am truly good with him. And if he died today, I got a call and was like, hey, it's his funeral. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I did everything.
You would be sad.
Of course. It's a
But,
dad.
yeah.
Like, of course. And like, I still would love
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it's going to happen. And it doesn't seem like he wants it. And so, am I okay? Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, I can now put up these boundaries so I don't keep getting hurt over and over.
Yeah, that's the like determining whether reconciliation is wise is like, okay, well, what's the realistic situation on the other side if you reach out to
Yes.
reconcile? Are you going to be hurt again? Are you
Right.
going to be, abuse, I think is just, it's a real thing. Zero, like, don't reconcile, I would say, if you're going to be abused again, however you want to define what that looks like, reconciling. But like, if it's a person who, it's not an abuse situation, then I think you do need to ask, like, how am I going to be on the other side of what I'm about to do? And if it's going to put you in a situation where like you're going to be hurt again, I don't think you need to go 100% in the direction of like, let's fix this. Forgive, ask for forgiveness where you need to, and then just leave it alone. Don't try to tie some sort of extra like spiritual thing to whether or not you've reconciled with this person that is harmful. Just go with God. I've forgiven you. I've done what I can. Go with God.
Yeah, and another piece I would say to this that I got asked yesterday from a friend is they were asking, like, if this person harmed me, do I go tell them I forgave them? And my response to that would be only if they know they harmed you.
Right.
Boy, I got a
You know?
letter one
Yeah.
time.
Dude,
Someone
Yes.
wrote me a handwritten 4-page front and back letter telling me how they hated me for months, and I knew none of it.
Yep.
And let me tell you the damage that did to me receiving that letter.
Yep.
That was so
I told you I was sorry, Johnny.
I know. That was so hurtful to
Yeah.
me when a conversation at the beginning of it,
Could have resolved it.
happened.
it could have fixed it all. But then I had to deal with the like, wow, am I a terrible person? And have I been awful for these months?
Yeah.
And just all of what that did, it was not helpful for me at all.
Yeah.
It was helpful for that person to get it off their chest, I guess.
Right.
But like, wow.
I
Sorry,
had
go on.
same thing. I mean, I had a pastor that held on to the fact that I planted a church here. He was so angry.
Yeah.
And outwardly, he said differently.
Mm-hmm.
Inwardly, I guess it was a struggle for him. And years, I mean, probably 6 years later after we planted, he came to me and was like, I just want you to know I forgive you. But, so I'm kind of releasing. And I'm like, wait,
What?
for what?
Yeah.
What did I do?
I planted
didn't
a
know.
church.
like,
Like,
yeah.
wait, what? Like, I was so, and same thing. It was
Yeah.
like, actually, I think that just hurt our
Yeah.
relationship.
Now I got to look back on the last years and
Right.
like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, so everything you said to
And
me
why
was
were
a
you untruthful
lie,
to me?
and-
Yeah,
Right,
like,
yeah.
right. So, yeah, I would just be very cautious if that person doesn't know that they harmed you, if they said, I'm sorry, then you need, then I would say it's appropriate to
Right,
go and
yes,
say,
for sure.
but if they don't think they did anything wrong or whatever, I wouldn't do it. I would, like, you can write a letter to them and never send it, right? Because I said share your story.
Yeah.
So you need to get out those things.
Yeah.
So you can write a letter to them, never send it. But you going to them and saying, hey, I just want to let you know I forgive you for what you did.
Yeah.
What'd I do? Now you've just created something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that-
Unless I can see a scenario where, okay, let's say it's a coworker and you guys work together every day
Yes.
and they said something mean about your kid. I'm just making stuff up here. You're going to have to interact with that person.
yes.
I would say it is appropriate to sit down and say, hey, this hurt me,
Yes.
and just let them respond to
Yep.
it. This hurt my feelings. I would prefer if you not say that, and whatever it looks like, that's okay.
It goes back to what you said earlier. What's the dynamic that we're
Yes.
going to have here?
Yeah.
Right,
If I got to work with
afterwards,
you,
yeah.
if I want you in my life,
Yeah.
these different things,
Yeah.
then you need to go say, hey, you hurt me.
Yeah.
But to just go say, hey, I forgive you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Well, first tell me what I did.
Yeah.
Then you can say, but I forgave you. That's
Yeah.
great.
If it's a sister and she lives across the country and she is this way and you know that, pray for her to be changed and release her, and then just
Dude,
move
that's
on.
almost literally the situation. that
just
this
move
person's in.
on.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
Just like
Yep.
interact at Thanksgiving and
If
have
that-
have your fence and your house and your gate and all of that, and then just let that person be them and
Yep.
move on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I would say too, like, God is faithful and he is good and he knows what we're struggling with, what we're
Yeah.
going through, our hurts, like everything. I know for me, like, I'm someone who I hadn't spoken to my mom in 3 months and
Yeah.
she passed away. And I don't know, I don't think I have any regrets, but I do remember feeling like, man, I really wish she knew that I loved her. Like,
Yeah.
even though we weren't on speaking terms, like, I loved her so much. I had one of her really close friends come to me like several weeks after my mom passed away, and she's like, hey, I just want to tell you that your mom told me she knows that you love her, that you loved her.
Yeah.
And I just cried.
That you cried on that
oh,
one.
man, I sobbed because I think God in that moment knew.
He was meeting you
Yes,
with that. Yeah.
he was like, I
Yeah.
know you
Yep.
need this,
Yeah.
so here I'm
Yep.
gonna be faithful and just bringing that. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
All right, last question. This one's a doozy. How do I forgive myself?
Oh gosh, man. Man, I think a lot of this starts with our identity. The starting place for me is, who am I in Christ? Not who am I in my sin, who am I in Christ? Talked a little bit about this last week with the feeling like you doubt your salvation. You got to start with the foundation of, what does God say about you? Yes, you've sinned. Yes, you've made mistakes, but there's no condemnation. Romans 8:1, 2 Corinthians 5, that we are the righteousness of God because of what Jesus has done for us. And so I think you got to start with identity. What does God say about me? Not how do I feel about myself? And then I think you got to continue to let him speak. Time in the word, time in prayer. I'm crazy enough to think that God is real and that he does speak to us and that we have encounters with him, and that he can bring healing. And so I think we have to wrestle with what's going on in here and whether or not we actually believe it a lot of times. And so, even singing songs on a Sunday morning sometimes are difficult for me because I like to think about what I'm singing. And so we do a new song and I'll watch the first time because I'm like, do I believe this? How do I feel about this? Not that it always matters about how I feel. I just like to process it. And I think, again, it's because it's speaking an identity. And I want to make sure that what I'm singing is something that, like, I believe or I'm trying to believe, right? I believe, help my unbelief, the guy
Yeah.
said to Jesus. Anyway, it's kind of the first thing that came to mind for me.
Yeah, I would say, give yourself grace,
Yeah.
obviously. It's just like what I was talking about on Sunday, that sometimes you just have to understand that they're human, person that wronged you,
Yeah.
and that they did the best they could in their given situation and all of that. Well, same is true with ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, there are mistakes that I made. Me and a buddy were talking just this morning about how thankful we were that not everybody had a cell phone or videos on their cell phone.
Social
Yes.
media. I
I would have been canceled. Like,
Oh,
I
man.
would not be a pastor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because of the mistake that I made. And it's like, man, give yourself grace. Like, I did what I did, and I've said what I've said, and I've also matured a ton, and hopefully I've grown in Christ and all of that. And most of those things that I would have gotten canceled for were before Jesus.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, I'll give myself grace with that, you know. I think also, you know, for me, one of the big things was somebody asked me the question, so did what Jesus do on the cross not enough? Because every time I would hold on to the sin in my
Yes.
life,
Yeah.
this person said to me, it's like you're putting him back on the
Back on-
cross.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to put him back on the
Yeah.
cross. He did that once. He doesn't need to go there again. Do I believe that it was enough? I mean, intellectually,
Yeah.
yes, I say that to others.
Yeah.
Right. Is it a heart belief?
Okay, I
Yeah.
need that for myself. Was it enough for me? And
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us probably are our own harshest critics.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like we were harder on ourselves than anybody else. Man, give yourself grace. And practically, one of the things that I did to help myself with the identity piece is I created, I think it was like 13 or 14 statements. And I've shared this from the pulpit before. We even have given people statements that they can utilize. But I created like 13, 14, 15, something like that, statements that were like, you are a son of God. And because of that, you are accepted. You are loved. You are always welcomed in the presence of God. And then I had scripture.
Yeah.
And I mean, for probably 9 months at least, every day I said those to myself, every single day. So I just went down the list and just said it. And it was that like process thing, right?
Yeah.
Where I didn't feel it.
You didn't feel
I didn't
it.
feel like
Yeah.
I was a son of God. I felt like I was a pretty bad dude. And every day,
Just- yeah.
every day,
Yeah.
every day, every day. And so I think just practically like getting the word of God into your heart, into your mind, transforms your identity.
Yeah.
Because you
sure.
actually understand. I had a guy one time at an FCA event. He said, raise your hand if you're a saint. Nobody raised their hand. Raise your hand if you're a sinner. Everybody raised their hand. He goes, no, you're not. You are a saint who now sometimes sins, but you're not a sinner. And I was like,
Dang.
oh, okay.
Theologically.
Yeah, he's changing
yeah.
because when you read in scripture,
Yeah,
you've accepted
you-
Christ.
you
You
are
are
a
a saint.
The saints.
Yeah.
You still sin. So it's not disregarding that. You're not perfect.
No.
But I'm no longer a sinner. I'm a saint
Yeah.
who sometimes sins.
Yeah. I would say you need people around you as well to remind you of who you are in Christ.
Yeah.
You know, I've had situations in my life where friends have said, hey, I got to tell you about this thing that happened to me, this thing that I did. And one of the things I try to make sure that I encourage them with is that's not who you are.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you made a mistake and it was wrong and you're going to face consequences for
Yep.
sure, but that's not who you are.
Yep.
And it's not who you're going to be. And so let's change. Let's do something about it. And you need people to remind you of the scriptures that you're reciting to yourself every day. And that helps.
Which is a great segue for this upcoming weekend's message
Oh boy.
because it is a lot about that right there.
Yeah.
It is. It is. I'm excited. Yeah, I just had to, I think just to tag onto that real quick, I got to tell somebody even last week, like, you are allowed to be redeemed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's
Yeah.
really hard, but like, you are allowed to be redeemed. What Christ did on the cross
Yep.
was for this very moment. Like, it's just,
I had
But-
people tell me after the message on communion in December, I had at least 2 people tell me that it was the first time that day that they had taken communion, some months, some years, because they didn't feel worthy enough to do it. And it absolutely breaks my heart that people walk into a church on a Sunday morning and feel unworthy to partake of the body and blood of Jesus that he sacrificed for us. And that's no shade to anyone
No.
in that. It breaks my heart is what I mean.
part of being loved is being seen.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's really hard to accept that God sees us, but fully.
Yeah.
And we cannot present our best selves to God
Yes.
because he can see every single bad, broken, whatever, and all the good. But that's the beauty is
Yes.
he says, and I love you.
Romans 5:8, while we were still sinners,
Yeah.
Christ died
He
for
chose
us.
the cross.
He chose it
Which we say pretty
A
much
lot.
every Sunday.
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
It breaks my heart to hear you have to even tell somebody that you're allowed to be redeemed.
Yeah.
Right? Because we don't come out of the womb thinking that we are evil people.
No.
So we are taught that
Yes.
from churches,
Yes.
from family, from
The
previous
enemy just
friends,
whispering things in our
and
ear.
then Satan.
Yeah.
Yep. And then that's when we begin to recite it. And it's why we talk very often about Satan,
Yes.
about loneliness, and how when you isolate, then Satan is free reign for him. He's
Yeah.
like, sweet, let's
Yes.
go. Then you get to a place where you feel like you're unredeemable.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for all the words that have been spoken
Yeah.
over you
Yep.
by the enemy using people, and then ultimately by your own tongue as well. Man, may God break that so that you can find freedom. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, that was good. Good way to end it. Our next week, we are talking about can I heal from sexual brokenness? Is that the.
I think
Did
that's
I-
the question.
Did I quiz,
It
did
is
I
definitely
phrase that
sexual
right?
brokenness.
Yes. Or can I
Yep.
overcome
Can I
sexual
overcome or can I heal? I'm not
can't
sure.
remember.
But the answer is yes to
Yes.
both. And we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week.
Yeah.
If you missed the message from this week, as always, you can find that in our series hub at frontrange.org. Definitely check that out. If you missed the one prior, definitely check that out. This has been a really, really good series, actually. So, yeah. All right.
It'll go downhill after this weekend. It'll be all right.
Stop it. Don't be so. What did we just talk about?
Come on. Come
Oh
on.
my
You're right,
goodness.
Johnny,
You're right.
you're redeemable.
That's right.
Wow.
And I'm going to write no, I'm not. I was
Oh
going to say a 4-page paper of how amazing you are, but
Yeah.
I don't have that much time.
On
Or
that,
that,
note,
or that many ways of saying it, or reasons.
No,
to
I
put.
could
No.
figure that out.
We'll see you all
it'd be
next week.
one per page.
it's awesome.
Goodbye.
All right.